Good morning, everyone. I'm in southwestern Colorado. I'm at the edge of the San Juan Mountains. This is Blue Mesa Reservoir. It is the largest lake entirely within the state of Colorado, and the town of Gunnison is just like 10 minutes over there. But we're not going to be hanging around here in this area too much. The goal of today is to drive a particular road. Like I said, we are on the edge of the San Juan Mountains, arguably one of, if not the best mountain range in Colorado. And there are three highways that go through this mountain range. The first, going from west to east, the first is Colorado State Highway 145. That is the road that goes from Cortez in far southwestern Colorado into the mountains to Telluride and then out to Naturita. The second highway, I think, is called US Route 550. And a section of that is also called the $1 Million Highway. That is the center of the three highways. That goes from Durango to Silverton, and then to Ouray, and then out of the mountains to the north. And then this one is the one that I'm driving today, the one that's farthest to the east. And this is called the Silver Thread Scenic Byway, also known as State Highway 149. I've driven those other two highways before, the one to the west and the one in the center. I've never driven this one that's to the east, and so I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. We are in the Land Cruiser on this trip, and we'll be getting a smooth 12 to 13 miles per gallon as we drive the 117 miles of the Silver Thread Scenic Byway today. And of course, as we drive this road today, we'll be stopping along the way and seeing a bunch of interesting and beautiful things. And the first stop is about 45 miles down the road. So we have quite a big stretch of driving ahead of us. I don't have any stops planned between here and there. If I do happen across something, of course, I'll stop and show you, but otherwise, I'm just gonna put the GoPro on top of the car and we'll do some beautiful time-lapse driving footage through the mountains. I've made it to the sleepy little mountain town of Lake City. Population is currently around 870 something, but in its heyday it had 3,000 to 5,000 people. It was founded in 1873 as a mining supply town, basically. There was gold and silver mining that went on in this area, and by about 1905 the mining had gone bust. And so it's slowly been dying ever since then, although in recent decades, of course, tourism has been the major industry of this town. I'm currently parked at the little information center, the visitor center, and here's what the town looks like. Snowy mountains. And I want to kind of make a distinction between what I'm gonna call mountain towns and ski towns. This is a mountain town. It's sleepy. Like I said, it's a little bit rough around the edges. Like once you get off this main road here, the little side roads are mostly unpaved. You go to a ski town and there are Patagonia and Gucci stores and Sotheby's real estate offices, and they're a little bit too clean, a little bit too shiny. This is not like that. This is a mountain town, not a ski town. And we're gonna go explore the town a little bit. There's a neat little row of old mining era buildings over in this direction. So right in the center of town, we have this lovely little town park, great mountain views all around. And then this is the little row of historic mining town era buildings. We've got a gallery and a little gift and soda shop, a bank. And that's it. Let's wander around a little bit and see what other pretty little corners of the town we can find. This is such a cool little town. I've spent more time here than I thought I would. I like it more than I thought I would. I've been wandering around for about an hour. I think the main attraction here are the buildings, the architecture, both the houses and the old businesses are just really, really neat from the mining area. Awesome place to just explore. And on the edge of town, there is this. This is an ice climbing park. And so there's a wall of solid ice, a wall of frozen water behind me. Every year in February, I believe, they have an ice climbing festival here to draw people here in winter. Taking a page from the book of Ure, I'm guessing. Ure famously has an ice climbing festival that a lot of people go to. It's a little bit warm, a little bit too late in the season for people to be climbing here. The ice isn't stable, but man, it's a pretty place still. And then from the road that the ice climbing park is on, you can go deeper into the mountains. This looks like a really pretty drive, the Alpine Loop, but this is not the time of year to do it. Still way too much snow this time of year. I'm now about 10 minutes outside of town. I've driven another handful of miles up the Silver Thread Scenic Byway, and there's a little viewpoint that I'm walking to. It's just like a 1 or 2 minute walk. There is some snow here, but it's hard enough, and I switched to my waterproof boots to make the journey. And when I say this is a short little walk, I really mean it. I parked just right here, and right here is the viewpoint. So Lake City gets its name from this lake. This is Lake San Cristobal, named after Saint Christopher, the patron saint of travelers. Look at that view, isn't that amazing? The lake is still completely frozen over, and we have some 13 and 14,000 foot peaks over here. I think these are all 13ers, and then the 14ers are maybe these, or maybe just out of sight over here. The 14ers that are over there are Red Cloud Peak and Sunshine Peak. And there is one really interesting aspect about the lake down here. But before I tell you that, I'm going to drive up to the next little turn or little bend in the road here to have a better view of what I want to show you guys. Okay, so do you see here how the earth is kind of yellow? There's like a strip of yellow earth right here going through the otherwise brown landscape. That is a landslide, or an earth flow. It's called the Slumgullion Earthflow, which sounds to me either like a heavy metal band name or like something out of The Lord of the Rings. But anyway, 850 years ago, it rained a lot here, it saturated the earth, and it slid down the mountain. And then it happened again 350 years ago. A newer slide happened on top of this older slide. And apparently it's still moving at a rate of about 20 feet per year. And there's a nice interpretive sign here. You can pause the video if you want to read the whole thing. But here's kind of a diagram. So this area at the top of the mountain, this is what calved off and slid down the mountain. And then there are, if we look closely, some trees going off at odd angles. That's not how they grew. They grew normally. They grew straight up and down, but then as the flow continues to shift, the trees get kind of bent into weird angles. If we zoom in, I think we'll be able to see some of those trees at weird angles. Right there. And then this is the top of the flow over here. And maybe you already knew this, I had to look it up, but Slumgullion is the name of a stew. It's a yellow stew made with pasta, or macaroni, in it, I think. And the early miners, the early settlers to this area, thought that this big yellow landslide looked like a big blob of Slumgullion stew on the side of the mountain. And then just a couple miles up the road, we are at yet another roadside stop. This one is a viewpoint. And one thing that I forgot to mention a few minutes ago when we were down at the Slumgullion Earthflow is that that is what formed the lake that I showed you, the frozen lake that I showed you earlier. That flowed down the mountain and it dammed up the river and it caused the lake to build up behind it. So anyway, here is the view that we have from this viewpoint. We have a nice look deeper into the San Juans. And this mountain right here is the main attraction. This is Uncompahgre, which gives its name to a plateau and a wilderness area. This is one of the most prominent mountains. It might even be the tallest mountain in the San Juans. Just an epic, epic peak that my dad has climbed. So you guys might know that my dad passed away a few years ago, but when he was younger, he spent time on an outward bound trip out here in the Colorado Rockies, and he climbed that as part of that trip. Other mountains that we have over here are these guys. This is Grassy Mountain on the left, 12,821 feet, and then Red Mountain on the right, 12,826. I wish I could say that I'm just rattling that off the top of my head, but there's a sign here that identifies the mountains and gives some elevations. We do have another 14er over here. Let me see. So Uncompahgre is that kind of pointiest, highest looking one on the right. And then the one to the left of that is the Matterhorn, or Matterhorn Peak, which is 13,590. And then the pointy one just left of that is Wetterhorn Peak, 14,015 feet. And then to the left of that, that third little pointy one is Broken Hill, 13,256. And I didn't say it, but Uncompahgre is 14,309 feet. And then this one over here is Crystal Peak, 12,933 feet. That is a great, great view. From here, and man, what a beautiful day it is. The sky is just perfect and cloudless. It's about 40 degrees, no wind, and no people. It's amazing. But anyway, from here, we are driving up and over this pass over this way. This is called Slumgullion Pass, and that is the highest point of today's drive. That pass is 11,530 feet tall, and this side of the pass leading up there is some of the steepest paved road in Colorado. In fact, this highway is the steepest paved highway in Colorado because of the steep twists and turns leading up to the pass here. And I think I read that this is the 5th steepest paved highway in the entire country. And so between here and the next thing that I want to stop and see, which is a natural wonder that I'm excited to see for myself and excited to show you guys, I'm just going to do some driving footage, maybe some drone footage in there too. I don't know, let's just drive and enjoy the beautiful scenery of the San Juan Mountains. Okay guys, here we are parked on the side of the road. The drone footage you just saw was of North Clear Creek Falls, which is a waterfall. That's the natural wonder that I was referring to. that's about 2/3 of a mile over in this direction. In winter, the road to the main parking area is not plowed, so we are going to go across the snow, over the snow, to get there. I'm hoping that the snow is hard enough that I can just walk across it, but as you can see, I do have my snowshoes with me, or as I like to call them, struggle shoes, because they're just, they're not my favorite thing in the world, snowshoes, but they do have a purpose. For this kind of thing, I wish I had some cross-country skis, because this is flat, this is perfect ski terrain. The road is closed to vehicles except for snowmobiles. There's a sign here that says road closed, snowmobiles only. And so far, it's actually pretty solid, this snow. So I hope we can just walk across the top of it all the way there. If I stick to the snowmobile tracks where the snowmobile tread was, it's pretty solid. Every once in a while I'll sink a few more inches down in, but certainly could be worse. And I don't think I'll have to pull out my snowshoes for this. Whoa. Yeah, see, I just broke through the snow up to my knee. Every once in a while that happens. Whoa! That happened again. See, that's what snowshoes are for. Snowshoes keep you from post-holing deeper into the snow, but I'm just gonna keep switching between snowmobile tracks and hopefully make it out there. Alrighty, it took me just under 20 minutes to get to the spot that I think is the normal summertime parking area. We've got some interpretive signs and picnic tables, and there's a bathroom over here. I believe the waterfall is somewhere over here. I can hear it. So let's go head over in that direction. So there it is, North Clear Creek Falls. It is partially frozen. I assume that if you came here in the middle of winter, this would be completely frozen. But now it's only half frozen. It's about 100 feet tall, fairly large waterfall. In sort of a surprising place, because this area is just kind of flat and not very rocky. I can see the car right there. Not the kind of place you'd expect just a sudden drop off like this, but that's really neat. That's amazing. Great little side trip here, fun little diversion, nice way for me to stretch my legs on what is basically just a full day of driving. And so once I get back to the car, I do have more driving to do. I don't remember how long it is, but it's a fairly long stretch to the next major town on the highway. And welcome now to yet another really neat old mining town. This is Creede. This is the main street area looking over in this direction. And then in the other direction, this is one really cool thing about Creede. It's basically at the mouth of this gorge. And there is a road that goes over in here. But again, I'm gonna have to save that for a warmer time of year. There's not really anything I wanted to see or do in town here specifically, but I had just seen pictures of it, of this town online, and wanted to take a look. Again, never been here before, so while I'm here, I'll show you guys around too. Here's looking down the right side of Main Street. We have some restaurants and breweries, and further down, some banks. There's a hardware store behind me. Neat little area, neat little main drag. I'm tired, guys. I made it to the end of the road, to the end of the Silver Thread Scenic Byway. I'm in a little town called South Fork, and this is the ending point of the Scenic Drive. But Creede was super cool. What a neat little spot. Again, mountain town, not a ski town, still a little bit crusty. And it's interesting to compare Creede with Lake City, because Creede is a little bit more kind of funky, a little more artsy, whereas Lake City didn't quite have that. But both really neat places. Between the two towns, I think I just really liked Lake City. I really liked all of those old buildings there, but Creede was really, really neat too. The thing about these two places that I've been is that I'm here in early spring, and there's no one here. Like, there's been very little traffic, basically no one on the highways, basically no one in the towns. A lot of the businesses in the towns have been closed. I saw several signs that said closed for the season, and they were going to open up on May 1st. Today it's early April, and I can just imagine being here in the summer and just how much traffic there would be on the road and how congested the towns would be. You know, there would be side-by-sides all over the place, and it'd be hard to find a parking spot, and it would just be chaotic. And what a difference time of year makes. Now, obviously there are pros and cons with that. This time of year, I can't really explore deeper or higher up in the mountains because there's still snow on the roads. I can't really go hiking, but this is an awesome time to come to the mountains of Colorado. This is the first time I've been here in early spring, late winter, and I might have to do this every year, because the main problem that I have with Colorado is that even though the mountains are amazing, there are just a lot of people in them, and that is the case in the summer. But man, in the early spring, I have this all to myself. Super cool. I'm parked in the South Fork Visitor Center. That's the building right there. South Fork Town Hall is right here, and this is what the surrounding mountains look like. Not quite as high, not quite as craggy, not quite as snow-covered as what we've been driving through. And I don't think this town is quite as characterful. I don't think it was an old mining town or anything like that. And so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. Just wanted to show it to you. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to hop back into the car, go find somewhere to eat. I don't know if that'll be in town here or in one of the neighboring towns. Then I still have another couple hours of driving to do today. And so I'm not going to film much, but I will meet back up with you guys once I get to a campsite. And it might be dark by then, but if it's not, I'll show you what the spot I found for the night is like. Welcome to camp. It's okay. It's good enough for tonight, and that's the important thing. And I made it here while there's a little bit of daylight left. I'm pretty close to the main paved highway. You can see some traffic out there. This spot is kind of a staging area, you know, where people park their trailers and take their side-by-sides off of the trailer and then go off into the mountains. This road continues on over here to a campground, but this gate is locked, and so you can't drive further up this road right now. But this is looking all around, nice mountain views in every direction. And again, not an amazing campsite, but good enough for one night. But let's talk about the drive. Let's talk about that road. Let's talk about the Silver Thread Scenic Byway. I loved it. What an awesome day in the mountains. And there was just no one up there. I can't believe that. 117 miles of prime mountain driving, prime mountains. And I had it all to myself. Unbelievable. If you've driven that road in the summer, let me know. I'm sure it's much more of a madhouse then, and I'd be interested in hearing your takes. I'm sure it's still beautiful, still worth doing, but I'm glad I did it this time of year for sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your favorite part was. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.